Rick A. Peterson.
Yeah,
Man.
what's up?
What's up, man? So, kicking off the Core of the Creator podcast. For those that don't know, Rick is my biological father. So we're very close and have a strong connection. We hold hands as we cross the streets.
I don't want you to get hit by a car.
Gotta keep it safe, man. We kind of want to know, like, you as a creator. Yeah, tell us about you. Quick recap, yeah.
So I moved to Detroit in 2019, early 2019, actually. Wasn't shooting at that time. Like I haven't really. I was interested in photography, but never really like dove into it. You know, I bought like a Nikon D5100 back in like 2010 or something like that, and that was like a decent camera at that time, I guess. Right. Took a few shots with that, just messing around and stuff. Never really got like the bug or like super inspired to shoot. Like it was like I was interested in it, but I never got like that bug, right? So moved here to Detroit in 2019 with my girlfriend. Still wasn't really shooting. Moved like right downtown, which was cool. But she got sober in like the fall of 2019. And she got sober, so I got sober because I'm supporting her, right? And we were at the time when we met, we were both kind of going through, we both had like a long-term relationship, had gotten out of that. We were just having fun, right? And they were kind of doing that whole thing. But anyways, she got sober, I got sober, and kind of got inspired to start shooting again. I'm in Detroit, like awesome architecture, people are super cool, like just lots of inspiration there, right? So started shooting again in like the fall of 2019. I really got into it, and here we are a couple years later, and talking to you at Desert Oasis in downtown Detroit.
That's really crazy because like that was around the same time I started shooting, and I remember we were both pretty fresh in the game and like coming up and trying to like solidify ourselves within the community. You were someone that I would shoot with and looked at your work quite often.
Yeah.
For like a reference for.
You were stalking me for a while.
Yeah.
I think we were probably stalking each other.
I think
actually.
we were.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is. Like you kind of, like if you're on the gram or whatever, right? Like you recognize other Detroit shooters that are posting consistently, and they're creatives of Detroit, right? So you kind of like start recognizing people whose style that you can vibe with or whatever that you like. Just recently though, this whole thing kind of blew up where I feel like now we're all like connected. Like there's so many people, so many creatives in Detroit, like the whole Composing Detroit crew, and like just like I don't know, it's crazy now.
Yeah, G's definitely like did a lot in bringing like an actual community here, because other like for those that aren't familiar with Detroit scene, we don't really have much of a clique like that, like Chicago shooters or New York, for example, where people get into these mass puddles. And a friend of ours, G, has created more of a community that brings us all together. Yeah. And I think that's just made a lot of other people's like pages a lot stronger and a lot more motivation.
Yeah. Going back to your point of like the whole like, because I think the first time that we met up, it was probably, I mean, it was pre-COVID, right? COVID wasn't the thing, yeah. So it must have been. Was that like, was it late 2019 or was it? I can't even remember the first time that like we.
Because you were one of the first people I started shooting with, and I started to shoot with you, mostly just you for a while. Because like I don't know, I think when it comes to you and what a lot of other people would say are your compositions, like your views of what you get and the scenes that you shoot, as well as the editing. But I think you stun a lot of people with your compositions. What's kind of your thought process when it comes to framing an image or like scouting out?
Man, that's like a loaded question, because like a lot of times, like I mean, we've talked about this before, but sometimes you go out and shoot just to shoot, right? Like that's why I kind of like street or urban photography. You just never know what you're gonna get that day. Like you have no idea. Like some of my favorite shots that I've been able to get, like it's not like you go out to get that shot, it just happens, right? That's why
Right.
it makes it so fun to shoot like street and urban. But like as far as composition, I mean I'm always like, you know, I'm like the kind of rule of thirds guy, but I like kind of minimalistic type of compositions. I like to have like a single subject usually. I mean that's kind of my preference, I guess. I like moodier images. But for me, like you touched on like the editing and stuff. That's kind of like I love it. Like that's kind of my I guess what really drives my passion. Like photography, I love photography, but I love capturing that image, knowing that I'm gonna take it in a post and like edit it kind of my vision of what I saw. Like when I saw that frame, when I framed it up, when I pulled up the camera, when I clicked the shutter, you know. So
I'm not a photo purist.
I'm definitely not a photo purist by any means.
Fair. So you have a regular like 9 to 5, and you've got a steady career with that. Do you see yourself in the future if it gets to that point becoming a photographer full time? By
I
any
don't know.
means?
That's a great question. I mean, I guess it's not like photography for me is kind of a creative outlet, and kind of just a way to forget about that 9 to 5, right? Like I don't have like it's just something I can just not think about normal shit and just go out and shoot and just kind of fulfill that creative urge. But as far as like turning it into something, I mean, you know, I'm not trying too hard to do that. Let's put it that way. But yeah, it's just fun right now, right? Like I just enjoy creating. I love the community that's kind of, as we touched on before, that's kind of building up here. Like it's pretty awesome. Like it's so cool. Like there's so many great photographers here in Detroit. It's really cool to be part of that. But the conversation's pretty fluid too. Like I had so much anxiety about this whole thing. Like
It's nervous. It can be very nervous in the beginning. So like that's kind of my past when it comes to creative. Like I'm younger, way younger.
Yeah.
Not okay. Not like this.
yeah.
But
I know.
So if we throw age,
Yeah.
you know, you're 48,
Yeah.
and I'm 23. So growing up, you know, the internet was becoming its prominent thing. So growing up, like I remember having the YouTube channel when the YouTubes. Yeah, it was like I made a channel when it was a new website.
Yeah, right.
I've been on YouTube since the beginning, and as a child, I always made videos. As soon as I would create like a video, I would be super like anxious. Similar when it's like kind of like you haven't shot for a while, you kind of get the butterflies.
Yeah,
But
yeah, for sure.
You get more into a rhythm to where it's like you know, it's just everything's in your peripheral. That's what I say.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what.
Yeah, you're in your own world, right? You're just kind of doing your own thing. Yeah, for sure.
So one thing I did want to ask, so you're self-taught
Yeah.
photographer. What would you say like gives you that motivation to keep going and to push your editing and your capabilities to that new standard of like leveling up?
Oh man. First of all, I'm not always motivated. Like it's hard, man. It's really hard sometimes, especially when you got other stuff going on in your life, right? Like you just bought a house. Like there's just shit going on where you don't have time to like focus on shooting or editing or doing whatever, being creative, I guess. But yeah, I just love it, man. I love learning new techniques like in Lightroom, Photoshop. I like I don't know, you get inspiration from everywhere. I like getting inspiration from Detroit for sure, right? And then just even scrolling through, you know, social media and stuff, like you see shots that you're like, oh, that's really cool. And just, I don't know, just learning new stuff, I guess, keeps me motivated to keep going, keep creating.
Your thoughts on IG and then moving kind of more to like actual physical printed work to be in things such as galleries. Like, has this been a thought process for you?
Yeah, it definitely has more now. Like last fall, we did the first the Composing Detroit gallery, and that was the first time that I really like printed my work, which was pretty awesome to like take it from just, you know, this little electronic, like looking at it on your phone, scrolling through the gram, to like actually like printing like 30 by 50 canvases or like, you know, just bigger work and seeing it like physically, that's pretty awesome. But like to actually physically print it, just another inspiration, I guess, to, you know, to be able to do that and to think about that as you're out shooting too. Like, you know, I could, you know, thinking about prints versus just sharing on social media is like a...
Right. And your go-to camera, you shoot Sony.
I shoot Sony now. Yeah, like I said, I started on Nikon D5100 and quickly graduated up to the Sony A7 III. And it's not like I outgrew the 5100. It was like kind of when I was first starting to get back into it. I just wanted a more capable camera because I knew that I was going to use it. You know what I mean? So it's not like I outgrew it and needed to graduate to that. That's kind of what happened, and I love that camera. Yeah, Sony's pretty awesome. I don't know if I could ever stray from the Sony now that I'm invested in that ecosystem. But
right, especially once you buy some lenses that are a hefty price, and then you find that the camera that you want doesn't have a mount.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now I don't want it.
Yeah. I got that little Ricoh GR3 too, which is pretty fun. It's just a nice little backup camera, or I mean, I've gone just shot with that too. That's pretty. I think it's like a 24 millimeter equivalent, which is pretty wide. I like to shoot like a little tighter, although that could burn you too. Like we were talking about earlier about the 85s, and 85 is great. It's like a nice. It's just a good street lens. It gives you a little bit of compression, so you can get some halfway decent shots with it, and it does burn you sometimes though, because you're so close to a subject you don't realize it, right? Because like street, you know, stuff happens so quickly. Like, you know, you've seen me like running away far more towards stuff to try to like get the shot, or tiptoeing up behind somebody, you know?
Yeah. Would you say that's like what primarily most of the work that you showcased was shot with that 85?
I'd say the 85, or I've got a 55. Those are probably the two lenses that I swap back and forth between. I've got like a 17 to 28 too. That's
pretty wide.
It's so wide, yeah. Yeah, and I'm not a lens swapper usually. Like even if I have another lens in my bag, I usually go out with that you know, in mind. Like I'm shooting this lens, and that's what I'm good to go. That's kind of where the Ricoh comes in handy sometimes, to have that. It's like a small pocketable little camera, right?
Yeah.
So if you want something a little wider, you see a comp or something you want to grab, like the Ricoh's pretty nice for that. But usually I leave the 55 or the 85 right on my camera.
You kind of blend in with the Ricoh too. It's almost like you're almost like a tourist, so people aren't gonna.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I know when you're walking around with like with a you know, a professional camera, you know, then people take notice. And
what advice would you have for creatives? Because I would say you came such a long way, just within being self-taught, and you have like a full life, right?
Yeah.
So there are younger kids that are like me that have a lot of time, but they struggle to find that motivation or just like self-confidence to keep pursuing.
Yeah. I'm pretty late to the creative game, right? Like, I mean, I found this pretty late in life, but the words of wisdom. But I don't know. It's $1 million question, but honestly, I would say just stay true to yourself. Like, don't jump on trends. Don't like try to be like everybody else. Just like, I think you probably relate to this, but as a creative person, like it's inside you, right? Like, stay true to that person that's inside you. Don't try to be somebody else. I mean, everybody gets inspiration from other people, or you're influenced by other people, but at the end of the day, you know, create what you want to create. Don't jump on all the trends and try to be those other people. Like, be you, right?
I like that.
Yeah.
Quit using presets. I think we're good, man.